Okay, I think we're ready to go. So hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our webinar, Fine Art and Collectibles Insurance, Q&A for Brokers. My name is Richie Venner, and I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at Distinguished Programs. I'm very excited to be leading the discussion today with members of our Fine Art and Collectibles program. We pride ourselves on having the experience, flexibility, and depth of expertise to help brokers win business, and this team really exemplifies that. Just so everyone knows, we'll send all registrants a copy of the slides, the webinar recording, and a PDF with all the questions and answers from today's session, even if you write them in during the call. So if anyone has a question during the presentation, please use the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. We'll do our best to get to them at the end, but a number of people sent in questions ahead of time, so we've already got a fairly packed agenda. But if we don't answer it during the call, as I mentioned earlier, we'll still include in the answers the material we send out after the session. In addition to Fine Art and Collectibles, Distinguished Programs is a leading national insurance program manager, providing specialized insurance programs for real estate, community associations, executive lines, inland marine, hotels, restaurants, surety, and environmental and construction professionals. Our Fine Art and Collectibles program offers tailored coverage for personal, corporate, and museum collections. During this 45-minute session, you'll hear directly from our underwriters on how Distinguished can help you win business and deliver superior service to your clients. So, are you ready to expand your market with Distinguished? Let's get going. Our two experts joining us today are Allison Sweeney and Ashley Maheo. Allison is our fine art expert and underwriter working out of our New York office. Prior to her years as an underwriter, Allison spent 7 years as an insurance broker specializing in the fine arts. Allison draws on her earlier experience working in museums and appraisals in her role as a fine art expert, reviewing client schedules, assisting insureds with complex collections, and attending industry and event fairs. Allison holds a bachelor's and a master's degree in art history. Ashley Maheo is our vice president of claims with 7 years of experience doing everything from selling insurance, surveying risks, and adjusting over 3,000 claims specifically focused on fine art and collectibles market. She holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Ramapo College in New Jersey and is a native of the greater New York area. She's passionate about delivering world-class claim service and being an expert resource for our clients and brokers. All right, so let's jump right in. Allison, I'm going to give you the first question. So let's start with you. Can you tell us about the Fine Art and Collectibles program's appetite? Who are your clients?
Sure. So our most common client is a private collector. These are people with personal collections, typically kept in their home or in storage. And for our clients, it's typically the type of collection that's a little bit more specialized or complex than what you would see on a homeowner's policy. But we also love to work on museums, which extends to a variety of different institutions. This includes universities, libraries, municipalities, and state collections. And then jumping down to the bottom of this list, it can also include traveling exhibitions, which might be commercial entities or be related to a museum collection. We also work with dealers and art galleries, including art advisors, artists, commercial artists currently working and selling artworks either directly to clients or through art galleries, but also artists' estates and foundations. Corporate collections, which might be property kept in a corporate headquarters, in an office like the art behind me, but also property kept in a trust or in an LLC. And then finally, entities like auction houses, restorers, framers, companies like that.
Okay, all right, thank you, Allison. You know, when you say collections, that's sort of a broad term. Maybe, and I'll ask Ashley, what type of collections do we insure?
So we have a pretty extensive list of types of collections that we insure. First and foremost, fine art, right? That's pretty vague. What does that mean? It can mean sports memorabilia, entertainment memorabilia, wine and spirits, antiques, antique furniture, stamps, covers, broadsides, anything of philatelic nature, comics, books, manuscripts, coins, even furs, glass, and pottery.
Wow, it's a lot of stuff. Maybe I'll turn the question around, Ashley. What won't our program insure?
There are a couple things that we won't, such as standalone jewelry. However, we do have a jewelry endorsement that you can add to a personal collection. Automobile liability we won't cover. However, if you do have a collection of, let's say, antique cars and they're mostly sitting in a garage or in a museum, something like that, maybe not the car that you're driving to the Hamptons this weekend with your golden retriever in the back, but things that typically don't contain actual gasoline. NFTs and digital assets, and there is a little bit of buzz around what does a digital asset actually mean. And I just want to specify whatever digital products or components you need to use to display a piece of art is covered. Digital assets, frankly, means the cyber aspect of it is what we won't cover.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, Ashley. Hey, Allison, what's the program's capacity and how does this allow us to be flexible with client needs?
We're really excited that we are currently up to $100 million in capacity. We find that that really meets most of the needs for our insureds and for our brokers. And typically we're deploying that on a primary basis, meaning that we're from $1 absorbing the vast majority of that risk. But we're also able to work with more complex and larger risks on an excess basis as part of a tower up to that full $100 million. And occasionally we are able to also work on a quota share basis with other carriers in the fine art space.
Okay, great. Ashley, how does aggregation influence our underwriting decisions?
So very luckily and proudly, we currently don't have any aggregation issues anywhere, even in states like Florida and California where they're very common. And it will likely be a long while before we even, need to address that 10, 20, 50 years down the line.
Okay, well, that's great. So the underwriting team, the whole team that you guys have is very important to our ability to do business. Allison, can you tell us about the expertise that the team brings to Fine Art and Collectibles insurance?
Absolutely. We have a really amazing team. We're really proud of our expertise in underwriting and in claims. We have pretty diverse backgrounds, but we have a shared experience working in the art space and in the insurance space. I guess I'll start by introducing Patrick. He is the leader of our team. Prior to joining Distinguished, for many years, he led the fine art, specie, and bloodstock team at a major carrier. And then prior to that, he was a leader in the jeweler's block underwriting space. Erica is one of the top fine art underwriters in the country with over 16 years of experience in fine art and specialty underwriting. But prior to being an underwriter, Erica also worked in specialty brokerage. So she is able to draw on both sides of that experience, which I think really makes her a valuable asset to our team and to our brokers. Noni previously worked at 2 major carriers in this space. She has a lot of experience working with high volume brokers and is our resident expert on California risks. Stacy joined our team most recently, aside from Ashley, and has 10 years experience working at a major jewelry underwriter, and she currently manages all of our affinity relationships. You gave a very nice intro and overview on Ashley and myself, I guess, at the beginning of the presentation, but just to reiterate, I have a fine art underwriting background, but prior to that, I spent 7 years as a fine art broker. And then prior to that, worked at 2 of the major fine art and collectibles appraisal companies based here in New York. And so that gave me a lot of experience and exposure to high net worth claims, working with inventories and with schedules. So I've been, very grateful for all of that experience. And then Ashley joined us most recently from a major fine art carrier, also based here in New York. And I'll let you introduce a little bit more of yourself, Ashley.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Richie. So again, I am coming from another major fine art insurance carrier, and I have adjusted over 3,000 claims specific to fine arts and collectibles. If you ever want to chat with me on claims offline, I'm happy to do so. I could talk about claims all day. The great thing about claims is it's different every single day. So any day in the office is just different from the prior one and the next one. I think the biggest advantage of having our in-house claims department is, number one, the collaboration between the underwriters and the claims team. It just provides a greater customer service, in my opinion. And, when we put all of our network together, that Rolodex is pretty vast of experts such as lawyers, appraisers, conservators. So, whenever a claim does warrant, we are able to go through that Rolodex and pick the best fit for your client.
But that's great because, yeah, insurance is always the promise, but claims is kind of where the rubber hits the road. And so I think it's great that we've got you on board and have so much experience in claims. All right, I'm going to ask our operator, we're one slide behind. Maybe we could just put us one slide forward. There we go, thank you. So Ashley, what is your approach to handling claims for Fine Art and Collectibles?
Yep, so first and foremost, if someone submits a claim within one business day, a human adjuster is reaching out to them and taking a statement. Then we'll be able to guide the insured on what the next steps are. Submitting a claim is very easy. You can either submit an email directly to us or pick up the phone and call. And our priority is to treat every single claim with the utmost empathy. You know, I can't count the number of times I've seen art, and I mean, I wouldn't have insured it, but you have to understand it doesn't matter what we think about people's art, it's what they think about it. And if it's valuable to them, it's valuable to us. And you really, really just have to be very thoughtful in your responses, because I've had people cry on the phone that I can't find my stamp collection. This was passed on from generations, and I don't care that much about stamps, but again, it doesn't matter. Where is the empathy? When someone suffers a loss, you have to deliver that customer experience for them.
So actually, Fine Art Collectibles, the types of assets are so diverse and so widespread, right? No single firm can have all of those, the people that deal with that kind of stuff in-house. How does the program collaborate with experts like appraisers and restorers during the claims process?
Yeah, so we will select the best vendor for our client and their situation. One of the major advantages of just working with a fine art insurance company who has in-house claims is, again, going back to that Rolodex. There have been many times where conservators or appraisers are just overwhelmed and they're a little bit backlogged. And when we're able to pick up the phone and call them directly, I know they're going to prioritize me and my claimant over their pending list. And again, that's just a huge advantage for us.
Well, that's great. Allison, well, everyone wishes that things were always easy. Sometimes there are issues. How do you handle complex submissions or those that require a quick turnaround?
Sure. So I think that we prioritize service and availability. It's sort of two sides of the same coin. You can't provide good service if you're not available. So our number one message is that we want to always be really easy to work with. We pick up the phone, we respond to emails, and we make sure that we're getting back to our brokers as quickly as possible. For complex risks, we're able to draw on the diverse experience and expertise of the different people on our team. We use a 4 eyes approach, meaning that a minimum of 2 people are reviewing every complex risk to make sure that it's being considered from every angle. And that really helps us provide people with the maximum level of expertise and review needed to provide a good product.
Great, thank you. And how about you, actually? How do you prioritize the customer experience?
So obviously being there, being available, being flexible are the starting factors. You know, once you do have a claim, I think it's very common for carriers to close the claim and just move on. For us, it doesn't really stop there. Once there is a claim, let's kind of revert back and see if there's anything that could have been done to prevent it. We do pride ourselves in offering loss prevention consultations. If you're interested in having one, you can reach me offline. Once there is a claim, the service shouldn't stop there.
Okay, all right, thank you. Hey, Alice, I'm going to go back to you for a minute. And some of this is really on the theme of just how different fine art and collectibles assets can be. I mean, how do you tailor your approach to meet the specific needs of fine art and collectibles clients?
So we built our policies with these different types of collections and clients in mind, and that has been able to provide our clients with flexible wording, variable valuations, and we're able to draw on that background to understand that each of these clients typically has different needs, and we're able to meet those needs by being flexible with our wording.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then how about some clients have inventories that are changing all the time? I mean, do you offer blanket coverage for changing inventories?
We do. Museum and dealer programs in particular are automatically built with a blanket coverage policy limit because we understand that those inventories change pretty frequently. And particularly in the case of a museum, it can be very difficult to manage such a large collection. But we're also able to offer that for personal collectors. Some collectors like to have a policy that's built on an individual schedule where we have a list of items at a pre-agreed value at the outset. But we're also able to offer those clients the option of having blanket coverage. And then in the event of a claim, we go back and review with them any appraisals or documentation that they may have on file, including invoices, and we work the claim that way because it can be very difficult to constantly update your insurance carrier every single time you make an acquisition or make a sale.
Okay, all right, thank you. Actually, up to this point, a lot of what we're talking about is great. It's in depth in the program and stuff like that, but it's still a little abstract. Maybe to help our broker audience, can you share some recent success stories or wins in our program?
Sure. So writing storage only accounts has been a big win for us because many brokers tell us they struggle to find specialty carriers who have capacity to write those storage facilities. Our underwriters work extremely hard to make these large, complex accounts work. This includes, tailoring policies, pay schedules, anything to fit their needs. And we can really help the broker anticipate needs for future coverage for that client, depending on the location and practices, their business operation and models. We also try to provide the same exact business or service to our small businesses as we do our large. It should be, equal service across the board. It doesn't matter if you're bringing us a $30,000 policy versus a $3,000 policy. The service should still be consistent throughout. And we do have a broker portal coming soon. Can't share too much with you yet, but I'm excited early next quarter to share some more information with you.
Okay, great. Actually, I know we provide individual service to each client, each broker, but are there any key factors that contribute to those wins or to our wins in general?
Yep. So obviously the key factors are just being flexible and responsive to our clients. And we do try to find a way to say yes. We had a submission recently where they sent in a personal collection and it looked really good. It was within our risk appetite. However, the home did not have an alarm system. So instead of just saying no and, closing the chapter on that account, we said, hey, we really want to write this, but let's go ahead and get them started with an alarm system. It should only take a couple of days, and once that's in place, we'd be happy to write it.
Well, that's great. Alice, I asked the same question of you. What role does your team play in, your team's expertise play in securing wins like these?
Sure, I think that we're able to draw on our market knowledge, our familiarity with many of the clients and the artists that are coming across our desk, and that allows us to be more comfortable with complex and more intricate risks.
Okay, and do we have plans on how to build on these recent successes in the future?
Yeah, I think by providing good service, competitive pricing, good policy wording, and being really easy to work with, hopefully all of that gives our brokers and our insureds a really positive experience and encourages everybody to send us more risks.
Okay, great. Well, speaking of sending risk, how do people submit business to us, actually?
Yep. So pretty straightforward. You can send us an email directly. The email address is listed on this slide. And if you need to download a copy of our application, you can easily find that online. And again, we're here to be resources for you if you need help finding it or if you have specific questions about the application, we're happy to answer them for you.
All right, great. All right, so let's take some time and dive into some of the questions we've gotten sent in from attendees ahead of time. And then if we have some time after that, there's some questions submitted through the chat feature, then we'll get to those too. So the first one is coverage available for businesses such as auctioneers, and you offer consignment coverage on fine arts? Elsa, could you let us know? Yeah.
Sure, yeah, I can take that one. So we absolutely are able to offer coverage for auctioneers and auction houses and for property that's in on consignment. At an auction house, typically all of that property is on consignment, and so that coverage would automatically apply, but we're also able to offer coverage for consigned property at dealers where that frequently represents at least a significant chunk of the property that they have for sale.
Okay, great. How about another question is, do you offer jewelry floater coverage for personal lines?
Yep, so this goes back to a prior slide. We don't write standalone jewelry. However, you can certainly add jewelry to an existing personal collection or, you know, antiques, anything like that that is of a fine art nature. You can certainly add jewelry to that policy.
Okay, great. Let's see, another question is there a program available for art and antiquities restoration?
We are able to offer that coverage on a case-by-case basis. It is one of the more complex risks that comes across our desk because it involves property that's in and being worked on, but it's something that we can certainly review on an individual basis. So for any of our brokers that might have accounts like this that come across their desks, certainly send it in and we can take a look.
Okay, great. Let's see, do you provide coverage for couture handbags and clothing? Who is the paper used? Anyone other than Lloyd's?
I can go ahead and take the couture question, Richie, because you're talking my language.
Okay.
So we appreciate anyone who is a collector. If it's just a couple of, you know, bags, we're not really interested in that. But anyone who has an extensive collection, almost any type of art, so bags can be considered art, even, you know, shoes can be considered art if you have a big enough collection. Typically collectors, they have pride in maintaining their collection, someone who knows how to store it. It's not just, you know, I'm buying a Birkin and I'm throwing it in the back of my 400 square foot New York City apartment closet. Someone who can appreciate the collection as a whole and, you know, takes good care of it. That's what we're interested in.
Okay, great. Let's see, another question for the audience. What states are you available in? Do you write in California?
I can take that one. We are currently available for commercial policies in California, but we do expect to have approval for personal collections very soon. Personal collections in California and Massachusetts are the only approvals that we're still waiting on. Everywhere else, we can write any of our products. And I just wanted to jump back on one of your earlier questions. Our policies are completely domestic. We are not writing through Lloyd's, and the leader on our program is a company called Starstone.
Okay, great. Here's another one from the audience. Is the program only for property coverage? Can you offer general liability coverage?
We do not offer liability coverage. It is just an inland marine property product.
Okay. All right. Well, that looks like it so far for the questions. I'll wait just a minute here to see if anything else comes in. All right, I think that's it then. All right, so this was a great session. As I mentioned at the start, we'll send all registrants a copy of the slides, the webinar recording, and a PDF with the questions and answers for today's session, including questions that were submitted in the chat during the webinar. And of course, feel free to reach out directly to Ashley and Allison. If you enjoyed today's webinar, stay up to date with our latest events by following us on social media. We post about insurance market insights, industry news, and you'll learn about our latest free webinars, ebooks, and case studies. Thank you everyone who joined us for today's webinar, and to our panelists, Allison Sweeney and Ashley Maheo, for sharing their valuable insights. Any last comments from either of you, Allison or Ashley?
I guess just thank you to everybody who dialed in and wanted to learn more about our program. And we're here to be a resource. So there's no account that's too small or too complicated. There's no question that's wrong. So please feel free to reach out to us anytime with any risk. Okay.
So we hope everyone found this information useful. And now that you're better equipped to navigate the Fine Art and Collectibles insurance market, we look forward to doing business with you. Remember, our underwriters will be available to answer any follow-up questions you have. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you on our next webinar. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you, everyone.